Betsie Andrews recently published a song collection paying tribute to the legacy of her grandmother, Florence Clark Rupp, a prominent educator in the New York City area and a pioneer in the early kindergarten movement. Betsie will talk about her grandmother's work with Melville Dewey of Dewey Decimal fame, John Dewey, father of modern education, and the establishment of Mrs. Rupp's home kindergarten. Betsie is a 42-year Kansas certified educator, professional artist, and director of ArtisTree, and ideas sprouted from the life and work of her grandmother.
Let's see. I know. Okay. Sorry. 5, 6, 7, 8. Florence Olive Clark was born in 1891 in Canton, New York. In 1912, she graduated from St. Lawrence University as one of the youngest Greek and Latin scholars. She taught 1 year of high school Latin and realized she was more suited for and had a gift for telling stories to young children. Kindergarten was not an established idea, but she'd heard about it and received her second degree at her own expense at Chicago's Pestalozzi-Froebel Kindergarten Training School, now Lewis University. Froebel was the creator of the first kindergarten in Germany and a student of the Swiss Pestalozzi who laid the foundation for modern education. Florence, far right, student taught at Chicago's Jane Addams Hull House and was model teacher at Brookfield Kindergarten. The building in Brookfield, Illinois, was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright's draftsman, William Drummond, specifically for kindergarten. There was even a child height sink used for flower arranging. Florence's training was also influenced by two American giants in the world of education, John Dewey and Melville Dewey. John Dewey, a professor at the University of Chicago, now known as the father of modern education, invited her kindergarten college to his monthly meetings on experiential education. It was Melville Dewey of Dewey Decimal who gave her the opportunity to put her training to practice. Dewey asked her to head up his summer kindergarten program at his Lake Placid Social Rec Club. The club was under his leadership, according to his ideals, but grandmother, pictured back row, had her say as well. She requested a live lamb, goat, bunny, split-tongued crow who could talk, storybooks of her choice, and a piano for the beginnings of her song and rhythm collection. Florence began the day with song and used every opportunity throughout the day to bring music and movement into play. Whether they were taking tea or exploring nature, dancing, her project method of teaching meant letting a child develop from the inside out rather than cramming him full of facts. Curriculum was developmentally appropriate and flexibly structured so that the children could learn by doing, building on their own discoveries. Character, not curriculum, was the goal. 4 years of Lake Placid, she married in 1920 and became pregnant with my mother. Remembering her first pupils, her diary reads, "I wonder if my own little one will love me as much as Rita, Dorothy, or Herbie did." In the fall of 24, Dewey sent her a following reference letter. Notice his simplified spelling system. Mrs. Florence Clark Rupp was 4 years our kindergarten director, the most successful we ever had. She was a great favorite with children and parents, and we counted it a great loss to the club when she left us. It is very seldom that there is combined in one person so many of the essential qualities for an ideal kindergartner. Melville Dewey, president. 2 days after that letter and 3 years of marriage and financial struggles, she opened Mrs. Rupp's home kindergarten in their new home in Passaic, New Jersey. It took up the entire first floor. Family and staff lived above. Preparing for its second year, she writes, "I shall welcome my kindergarten. It's pleasant, beautiful, progressive work, and I love it." Here we see her kindergarten fully accredited, raising my mother Jean and my uncle Bill, turning 90 next month. She's lecturing, publishing about her methods, convinced that children are naturally drawn to and deserve beauty. In their daily lives, celebrations, parents were treated regularly to songs, plays. The biggest celebration was May Day. There was the Maypole, followed by crowning Queen of the May, seated on a royal throne built by the students. And even though my mother spent 17 years in kindergarten, she never was Queen of the May. I attended Grandma's kindergarten when I was four one day. I'm Little Red Riding Hood, back row left. Rhythm time with Grandma was especially memorable. With gusto, she played from her song and rhythm collection as we children circled around the center staircase, becoming heavy elephants, light birdies, a complete aerobic workout. This is how her song collection looked. She was very picky about her songs, and songs that passed muster were ripped out of her book and taped onto heavy dividers. I longed to preserve this. For years, I taught with copies and copies of copies until my mother finally gave me the original collection. And this is how the collection looks today. Becky Turner and I met Thursday nights over tea for 7 years. It took a year to catalog over 200 songs and rhythms, another 3 years tracking down sources, composers, publishers, copyrights, 3 more years working with illustrators, vocalists, recording engineer for the companion CD before publishing last year. This is a sample note sheet. We took the top 65 songs. We wanted to stay true to the original notation, lyrics. We added guitar chords and instructional notes. Hutchinson's Jim Heck illustrated all the bird, animal, and flower songs, and Grandmother would quite approve. My grandmother continued adding to her collection until she retired in 1955. My mother on the right used her mother's song collection when teaching at Hessian Hills School, Croton-on-the-Hudson, New York, during World War II. Mother had graduated from Mills Teaching College in New York. Her guiding light remained, her appreciation for what she'd been given by her mother. My mother was the bridge that connected me with my grandmother's work, the touchstone being her songs, stories, and rhythms. Here, with my visiting mother and 2 daughters, is my preschool toddler tree founded here in 1981. Today, Grandma's stories, songs, and rhythms continue to base our budding artist curriculum at ArtisTree and are happily sung by her great-grandchildren. I'd like to leave you with a poem by my grandmother, Reward. Have you ever met a child on his terms, not yours, filled his wide-eyed wonder with knowledge which he wanted, waited for his hand to reach for yours in confidence, and met his humor head-on and laughed gloriously when it wasn't really funny? Have you? Then your worth has been attested and you've been accepted as a peer. As a tree bough grows from the trunk and branches from the bough, I am a bough from my grandmother, rooted in the early kindergarten movement. Her legacy lives on through generations of students and teachers inspired by her love of beauty and discovery.